In this video, we'll talk about oiling and maintenance on your Highland embroidery machine. Oiling and maintenance are two very important parts of taking care of your embroidery machine and making sure that it's performing at its highest level. Before we begin going over all of our oiling points, you will need to gather a few supplies. You'll need a can of spray lubricant. You'll need an oiling pen. You'll need a flathead offset screwdriver. And you'll need a can of compressed air. All of these things can be purchased at mesasupplies.com. For our first oiling point, we're going to grab our oiling pen and remove the cap. And we're going to come over here on the right side of our machine where we have a small red hole. Okay, and every day I'm using the machine, I want to put about 2 to 3 drops right here in this hole. After I am done with that, I can set my oiling pen aside for right now. And I'm going to grab my metered lubricant spray. And when I'm on needle number 1, I'm going to see this silver plate. It's held on by 2 Phillips head screws. And we'll also see 2 holes on this plate, where up top we see a connecting link. Okay, I'm going to put 1 spray of my lubricant right there. And then on the bottom hole, I have a silver shaft in here that I'm also going to put 1 spray of lubricant on as well. After that, which those I'm going to do every day that I'm using the machine. After that, I'm going to come up here in front, open up my Highland cover. And right behind our take-up levers, we have all of our needle bars. And then once a week, I'm going to put 1 spray of my lubricant on as close to the top on those needle bars as I can. Again, that's once a week. Next, I can close my cover. I'm going to grab my oiling pen once again. And down here below, I have this white cover that's also held on by 2 Phillips head screws. And on this cover, I have 5 holes. Inside each of those holes, I'm going to put 1 drop of oil with my oiling pen once a week. Once a week inside each of those holes, just like we do up top on our needle bars. Next, we'll come down right behind our needle plate. We have another small hole that using my oiling pen. Every day I'm using the machine, I'm going to put about 2 to 3 drops of oil right inside this hole. After I do that, I can again set aside my oiling pen, and we're going to come down to our bobbin case. We're going to remove our bobbin case, which will expose our rotary hook. And on the rotary hook, you have your hook point, which is down on the kind of lower left side of our rotary hook. I'm going to take my lubricating spray and put 1 spray of this lubricant on there. I'll put my bobbin case back in, and I'm going to oil my rotary hook every 3 to 4 hours of use when I'm running the machine. Make sure that it's constantly getting oiled and constantly being taken care of. After you've oiled your rotary hook, we're going to come over to the other side of the machine and move over to needle number 15. I'm going to grab my lubricant spray. And just like we had over on the right side of the machine, we also have a silver plate here on the left side. And tucked back inside the silver plate, we have our reciprocator, which is driving our needle up and down when we're running the machine. And we have our reciprocator shaft going through it. And that shaft, I want to put 1 spray of lubricant right on there to make sure that that is getting properly oiled. After we do that, we can move back over to needle number 1. Now that we have covered all of our oiling points, we're ready to move on to maintenance. And to do this, I'm going to grab my flathead offset screwdriver, which I'll use to remove all 3 screws on my needle plate. Once I have my third screw removed, I can then remove my needle plate. And underneath the needle plate, you can get a lot of lint and thread built up over time while you're running production. So I can take my can of compressed air and spray a couple times underneath here to clean that out and make sure it is free of all that thread and lint. Once I do this, I can then put my needle plate back on. I want to make sure that I have all 3 screws fully tight before I begin running production again. Once I put my third screw in and tighten all of them down, I'm ready to move on to a couple other points of maintenance. One is our bobbin case. Your bobbin case needs to be replaced every 3 to 6 months roughly, or anytime after you drop a bobbin case, as it can be easily damaged when hitting a hard surface. In addition to the bobbin case, our needles also need to be replaced roughly every 25 to 40 hours of use. Or, better way to tell is if you're having a lot of thread breaks on one particular needle, it may be that that needle has gone bad or gone dull, causing those thread breaks. So you would simply replace the needle to see if that alleviates the issue. All of these oiling and maintenance points are covered in documentation on mesatraining.com, so feel free to check those out for further instruction. But after you have covered all of your oiling and maintenance points, you are ready to begin production once again on your embroidery machine.